Hello and welcome back to another episode of the So Lovely Talk Show. I'm so excited because Ollie and I are going to interview an incredible woman, Ashleigh Hodges, who I have admired for many years because of her ability to be so honest and vulnerable when times have got really difficult, when so many others would have probably hidden away. I've found that really inspirational.
We talk about her presidency for the fellowship. We talk about her own journey with having a breakdown and being really open about it, but also being able to reach out to people to support her herself within our industry and actually trusting your gut and really navigating what you're doing for your future.
The Oh So Lovely Talk Show. The Oh So Lovely Talk Show. So lovely.
So, could you just give us a little introduction to yourself for anyone who
course.
doesn't know who Ashleigh Hodges is?
Yeah.
And who you're about and what you do?
So, yeah, I'm Ashleigh Hodges. Thanks for having me on your podcast. I've been an avid listener. And I am the current president of the Fellowship for British Hairdressing. For those of you that don't know, the Fellowship for British Hairdressing is now an 80-year-old organisation, and I'm the youngest female president they've ever had, which is pretty epic. And I am the owner and curator of MASH Creative Studios in East London.
Fantastic. So you've just mentioned the fellowship.
Yeah.
And I think we're all aware of the fellowship within our industry.
Yeah.
But for anyone who doesn't really understand the fellowship, could you just give us a little insight on what that is
Yeah, of
and what
course.
your role has been as a president?
Of course. Yeah. So the fellowship really, it was set up just after World War II by hairdressers for hairdressers to help support creativity within our industry and support each other during competitions. That's initially where it started. And it's obviously grown and evolved now, but that is still kind of the core message of the fellowship. It's just about hairdressers supporting hairdressers. We all give up our time for free to kind of grow the next generation, whether that is kind of new people coming in. We have grassroots, we work with colleges now, or if it's people that maybe stepped out of the industry for whatever reason, they had babies, they fell out of love with it and are coming back into it, and they want to become part of a project. And we have, I want to say, I've probably got this wrong now because we have so many projects. I think we have like 11 projects now that run across the whole country to offer opportunities to people to be able to learn and grow. And then we have business opportunities, awards, just it's kind of like it's so cliche when people say, oh, it's a family, but it really is the industry family, so to speak. Like it's there to kind of, I can phone anyone and I know they'll support me, and I know that anyone can phone me. And I mean, I've been on phone calls at like 10 p.m. at night talking to people, and that's what it's about. And I think for me, it encapsulates our industry.
Yeah. I mean, you've been involved with the fellowship from a very early age, like
Yeah.
you're from the beginning of your career, haven't you? What has that what's that been like for you, and how did that give you the position you are now? How did it what was that journey?
Yeah. Well, I found out about the fellowship in the back of my college brochure. Like, you know, like we'd all carry these massive folders around. I'm sure they don't even have them nowadays. And in the back it had like what's next, and the fellowship had like a little logo thing, and I googled it and realized that all the hairdressers that I looked up to were part of the fellowship. And I was like, right, if I want to be them, I'm autistic, so I'm like very one track minded, and if I see that that's where people are, I'm like, that's where I need to go. So I was like, this is what I need to be a part of to become like Errol Douglas and all these great hairdressers. So I joined at the time they had just started. I think it was in first couple of years of its infancy was Club Star. So that was our under 25s, and you could join for like, I think it was like £20, something like that, which like for a 19-year-old is nothing. Do you know what I mean? And then you got to go to all the events. And then I've grown from there. The Fame team is like the pinnacle. Yeah. And I'm like I did a lot when I was young. So I got onto the Fame team at 21, again, one of the youngest people to ever get on it. And I put a lot of this down to the fact that I think I went into everything very naive. And I think that helped me, because I actually think if I tried things out now, I'd overthink the shit out of it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas when you're young, you just go for it. And I think there's like a beauty in that. So I got onto the Fame team in 2012. And then from there, Errol just started to become president, and he'd been my mentor for many years, and he wanted to bring younger people into the fellowship. So he invited me to become a project leader. And again, I think I was only about 25 at the time. And I ran Project X, which is like the finishing school of the fellowship. And it teaches you everything from sassoon cutting to session styling to wig making. And I ran that for 2 years. And that progressed me on to being part of the council, which is what it was called at the time, where there was about 30 people on it. And the council were the people that ran the fellowship. And it was, people kind of joke that it's kind of this like old Mason type thing. And honestly, when I joined, it really was that. It was fascinating to step into that first ever council meeting, and you had to put everything through the chair. Like, you couldn't just speak. And there was this, it was fascinating. Like, for like a 25-year-old coming into the industry, it was like, oh, wow, this is how it's run.
Did you, not to interrupt, but I'm finding it amazing, because you're going, oh, I was naive, I just went into it, and I was young, and yes, but I find it amazing that you were young and you still just did it, because situations like that, sitting in a meeting with probably a room that's predominantly older men, I guess, I can imagine, could be quite intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
And for you to come out of it going, this is amazing, is like really quite inspiring, I would say.
Thanks.
Like, did you?
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think I necessarily were coming out of the meetings being like, this was amazing. Like, even now, that does not happen. I have this thing where, like, the world affects me a lot. And so, for instance, like my partner quite often will come home and I'm like crying because of the way the world is. And he always does this thing with me, and he's like, you can't change the whole world, Ash, but you can change your world. And I think I've just always kept that. And my world is the industry. And yes, okay, I was really naive when I was younger, and it helped me. But equally, I would go and sit in these rooms because there wasn't many other people my age sat in those rooms. There wasn't many other women sat in these rooms. There wasn't many other like people like me in general sat in these rooms. And me just sat there was changing the face of the industry. Just me being there, let alone me opening my mouth. And when I open my mouth, most of the time people would fight back. Like, I remember having an argument with people in a fellowship meeting about a hashtag because they didn't understand Instagram at the time. This was years ago. Do you know what I mean? And you just think, how irrelevant is that nowadays? But like, it needs people to step up and do that. And if we all kind of step away and go, oh, I was just white men. Do you know what I mean? If we're just constantly like giving up on that, then nothing's going to evolve and change. And have I been able to do everything I've wanted to do? No. But it's evolved enough for me to even be a president. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the 10 years that I've sat at that table, it's evolved enough for me to step in as president. So I think that in and of itself is really special.
Why is it that you want to be president? What is it that you want to change? What's driving it?
I just think it's showing that it's possible for people. Like, what's kind of been quite overwhelming during my presidency is having people coming up to me being like, I want to be president now because I've seen you be president. Like, even at the luncheon just gone, I had a young girl come up to me and be like, I want to do what you've done. And that's all we want. We want people at the top reflecting those below. And that's we just want to get that shift in, because I never had that when I was younger. When I looked at the top, it was all the same sort of people at the top, and they looked nothing like me. They did nothing that I did.
Yeah.
And we want that diversity. We want people that look like you. We want people that don't look like you. We want such an incredible tapestry to reflect what our industry actually is. And I think that's what's really important. And that generally is the thing that drives me.
I think that's really, I'm fascinated by that, because we've talked about it on previous podcasts. It's like I remember sort of stepping into our industry in the late 90s and sort of being a gay male with a lot of females, I felt very safe, but was very much a male-run industry.
Yeah.
And even the salon that I worked in was run by females, but the sort of male toxicity that was around dominated that. And I think it's like, and from there on in, like going through university and whatever I did, I always felt inferior. And there's always people that always just, you kind of lived in fear of the top.
Yeah.
And I think I think that's just been, like, from my point of view, something that I've grown up with. And now kind of being involved in an industry now where it's becoming, hearing your story about the fellowship, it's fascinating to see that has changed so much in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's quite a powerful position. And it's you should really be proud of what you've done.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I am really proud. I mean, it's nearly broken me. It's been intense. But yeah, no, I am. And I know that I know, weirdly, I said this to somebody the other day, because I've got about 4 to 6 months left of my presidency. You do, all your roles are for 2 years, basically, and then you hand it over to somebody else. And they were like, oh, what do you want to do for your last term, last part of it? And I was like, if I'm honest, I could have very easily have stepped in as president, and I knew the moment I'd stepped on stage, I'd already left a legacy. Like the moment I become president, I had so many people. It was incredible. It was so, like, thank you to everybody messaging me, just saying how incredible it was for them to see me become president. And I don't think I'd fully taken that in until everyone started messaging me. And I said about it to my partner. He's also a hairdresser, and he was like, of course, Ash. Like, I'd already thought of this. And I was like, I hadn't. I'd just been working towards it. I hadn't really thought of the perception outside. So I knew, in a way, I could kind of not do anything as a president, and I would be leaving this massive legacy. But obviously, I'm not that type of person. So I've worked my arse off for the last 18 months, and we've done a lot. And but I just know that everything that I'm always doing, I'm thinking about not what's happening at the time, it's how I'm going to be leaving it. So I always want to make sure that everything that I'm doing right now gets left and sticks. Do you know what I mean? So that when in 5 years' time, there is still that shift is still happening, which I think hopefully, not the world, but our world is kind of pushing towards that bit more.
I do think with, I know we're not going to talk about politics and we're not going to talk about the big picture, but I think we're, as an industry, we're really fighting for our place. And I think with what you're doing goes very much hand in hand. And I think it's definitely about finding a voice as an industry that's so underrated. Yeah. And I think, with the conversations we've had with many guests on this show, is that the more I talk about it or we talk about it with our guests, the more foundation there is there that's happening. Where do you feel like you're going to be going after the presidentship?
To bed. Honestly. If I'm honest, I do really need a break. It has been, the president's been the hardest thing I've ever done, and you don't get paid for it, and it takes up like so much of your time. And I was an idiot and opened a business the same year I became president. So yeah, I mean,
it's a reoccurring pattern then.
It's an I'm an all or nothing person. So I need to focus on my business a little bit and actually do some stuff with that, and and actually just have a bit of a break, to be honest, because I really do love our industry, but it has been really hard being president, and you see every corner of our industry, and it's not nice. Some bits are really amazing and really supportive, and other bits really aren't. And I kind of need almost to not fully step back, but just to go back into what I need to do, and for me to be creative, and for me just to, I don't know, get my creative mates together and do some fun shoots, and the things that like made me fall in love with our industry in the first place. I feel like I just need to do a bit of that, and then I can slide back in. And I mean, I've got plans. Of course, I've got plans.
Of course, I've got 6 things to do at once.
Yeah,
and, that will happen.
Yeah, give me a year, and then I'll be rolling it all out
again. So
all together, all at once.
Boom.
One of the many reasons I was really excited to have you on, and one of the reasons I have kind of seen you as quite an inspiration, Ashleigh, is because of your vulnerability. Like, you are, to me, and I was saying this to Ollie earlier, one of the first people that actually voiced weakness, I guess, is maybe the better way to put it. And I think now we are living in a time where people are a little bit more open about that. But I remember, and I timelines escape me exactly, but I remember you saying things that really kind of resonated. And I can imagine at the time you were taking too much on, as creatives do, and then feeling the downfall of that, I guess. So I always find that really interesting about you, and I think you kind of handle things in a really clever way. I do. So
did you hear that, people?
Did you hear that?
My friends. That you want to hear that.
But a bit like, so Adele will do her she'll do all of her performances, and then she takes herself away for a long period of time. I feel that's kind of like what you do. And one of the things I found really amazing, and I hope you don't mind, I bring it up, is on the bottom of your emails.
Oh my God, yeah, everyone loves this.
I love it so much. I did. I was like, it's really amazing, and I wanted to bring it up because I think people should hear it. And if not, you use it for themselves. But I thought it just summed you up quite nicely. So it is normal for me to take a few days to read my emails, and further few days to reflect and respond calmly. The culture of immediacy and the constant fragmentation of time are not very compatible with the kind of life I lead.
Yes.
That is probably the polar opposite to what I was taught when I was, being brought up within this industry.
Absolutely.
But actually, it is the truth for most of us. But we were taught that that's probably not the best way to lead your career or lead your lives. When was the moment that you realised, actually, that the way the industry was projecting how I live it? I
saw that on a meme and just copy and pasted it over to my emails because I thought it was quite funny. Yeah. And it just stuck. I've just kept it. I don't know. Maybe you guys have had this as well. I come to a realisation that I would set myself all these goals, and then when I'd hit them, I would break and realise I wasn't very happy when I hit the goal. And I was just a bit like, why am I doing what am I doing? And that's just a pattern, and it's a pattern that still comes up for me, and I'm sure it's a pattern that will come up for me again and again and again, maybe in every lifetime I ever live. But when I first moved to London, my goal from like a kid, I was brought up in Kent, and then we moved to Northampton when I was 10. But my goal was always to live in London and to be this big hairdresser and travel the world. And I remember we used to come up to London on Sundays when we lived in Kent because it was free to park and it was so easy. And I remember parking near Nicky Clark's salon and my mum taking me to look at the salon and touching the doorknobs. It was like, and I don't know if you ever, I just don't think it exists anymore, does it, where it is? But it was this really cool, fist, the doorknob. And it was just like this really cool brass thing. And we were like, oh my God, it's Nicky Clark's salon. And My mum's a hairdresser. Like I've been brought up in the industry, and it was just, excuse me, it was one of those things. I was like, London was the dream. And even like when I first met my partner, I refused to date him because I was like, I'm going to be this big superstar hairdresser. I don't want to be held back. And like, it was this whole thing for months. He chased me being like, you can do what you want. I don't care. I just want to be with you.
Oh, I love that.
And like 15 years later, that has happened. Like I've traveled the world, been this big superstar hairdresser, and he's looked after my cats. Like, so I think for me, it was always, that was the goal. And it had kind of no context. Like it was just be a big hairdresser in London with no like nuance. And when I moved to London in 2017, I mean, looking back now, I've done so much work to understand how everything happened, but I didn't, like, again, super naive. I had a nervous breakdown because it was a lot. Everything was a lot. I was traveling the world for Matrix. I was literally flying from New York to Beirut to across Europe, and it was mental. And I look back and I was like, I was 26, 27, like being flown to Beirut to do a hair show. Like I can't fathom it. And I was working at the time in a salon, and I ended up being split between Kensington and Surrey. And then the Surrey salon needed more developments. They wanted me there more. And I was like, but I've moved to London. Like, this is where I want to be. And just juggling everything was a bit too much. And personal things kind of got in the way. And so I had this nervous breakdown that I didn't really acknowledge for about 6 months. And then I kind of I had this thing where I had to do a year of therapy, and I was like, that year I'm going to take it off, but I kind of have rent to pay, so I can't take it off. So I did this thing that I would only take a job if it would pay well or I knew I'd enjoy it. So if at the end of the day I'd come home being happy, then I'd do it. Didn't matter how much the money was. Or if it paid well and I got home and felt exhausted, it's fine, I could pay my rent. Like, they were my two kind of benchmarks for that year. And that's when, after that year, was when I kind of opened up to people. I always feel, for me personally, and I know everyone's different, and some people feel really comfortable opening up whilst they're going through things. I'm one of those people that kind of needs to go through it. And then when I'm feeling stronger myself, I can open up and give strength to others. For me, it's like putting your oxygen mask on first. Like, there's no point in me telling everyone I've had a nervous breakdown and I'm in therapy because I'm still a mess. And people do open up. Like, we're an industry where we're all really hyper emotional, both with our clients and with each other. So as soon as you do start to open up, other people start opening up their stories to you, and you need to be strong enough to handle that. So I started kind of opening up when I felt stronger.
It kind of sounded a bit to me that almost you didn't know you were having a bit of a breakdown as it was happening as well.
Oh God, absolutely not.
So I think you can't open up about
No,
it.
you can't.
You actually don't know it's happening.
Yeah, I remember my therapist turning around to me and telling me to go and watch a YouTube video about a nervous breakdown.
Right.
It was like the School of Life.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow it, but
No.
the School of Life's really good.
What were your signs? What were the flags that?
I had like a full like panic attack after panic attack. Like one evening, just it hit me and I couldn't breathe. I was throwing up, like shaking, and
So
then
very physical.
Very physical. I mean, now I look at it, and I mean, I've had therapy, I have life coaches and everything. I always like, if I don't know or understand something, I pay someone to help me, and that's kind of how I live my life now. My friends take the piss out of me all the time that I've always got a person, but I'm like, if you don't know what you don't know. So I'm like, if like when I trained for a marathon, I went and got a running coach. Like, I opened a business, I got a business coach. Like, you get people to help you because you can't do it all yourself. So yeah, and I've had psychiatrists with like my ADHD diagnosis and my autism diagnosis, and so probably to the detriment of myself now, know myself too well. But like, I look back now and I had a full autistic breakdown. That's what I actually had.
Right.
But at the time, I didn't know and understand myself enough to know that that was what was happening. My partner Matt is the most incredible person, and he has family members with severe mental health problems, and was the best person to have at the time, because he knew exactly how to calm me down, how to look after me in the state that I was in. And yeah, like you said, I didn't know what was going on. Like, I didn't know that I had this high anxiety from moving to a new city and not being around the community that I was around. And it was mad. But we get through it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I look back now and I'm like, I don't even know how, but you do.
I think it's
We get someone to help you.
Yeah. Exactly that.
Again, kind of reflecting back sort of like 20 years ago for me, you just got through life.
Yeah.
You know, and I can remember people just saying, oh, Ollie's just being sensitive, or Ollie's being emotional. You know, I am dyslexic. And I've definitely got some form of ADHD. And, you know, none of that was talked about all those years ago. And again, I think that goes back to sort of feeling inferior, because you're like, I can't function like the big wide world. You know, I'm not conditioned like that.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with me. But I think it is like being able to now have that permission to accept that. And, you know, I think that's what's beautiful about our community as hairdressers, as creatives, is that, especially me running a business, recognizing that in other people and tuning into those people and knowing that that's unique to them and this is how they're going to be able to evolve as a human being.
100%.
But it's exactly what you're saying. I absolutely have to get people to come in and help me run my business, help me coach my future, therapy, all those things. Like, and it's okay to do that now, whereas before I felt like it was such a taboo thing to get therapy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the fact that I travelled for my job actually really helped me with that, because whenever I'd be in America, it was so normal. So I could be on stage and be like, my life coach, and everyone would be like nodding, like, yeah, of course, everyone has a life coach. Why would you not?
Yeah.
But if you said that over here on stage, people would be like, oh my God, she's got a life coach. What even is that?
Is she okay?
Yeah. So I kind of like that I was able to travel from such a young age and learn different cultures that supported me with that, because actually, as crazy as it is in America, there are certain things that like are normalized in the best way.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny, actually. I was watching Graham Norton the other night, and they had some American guests and they had some British guests.
Yeah.
And it was palpable, the difference in the way
Absolutely.
they interviewed, and how the Americans are much more open to talk about anything.
Yeah.
And the British was so apologetic. Like, oh God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Sorry, I've sat here.
Just sat here. I'm on your show. But it is that thing, isn't it? Like, I think we kind of look at the American culture as being a little bit crazy and nuts, but actually them being crazy and nuts is just allowing them to say how they feel.
Yeah.
Whereas we're always very pursed-lipped and sort of retain it all within.
100%. I remember the first ever shoot I did in New York. You're obviously like really excited. It's your first, like, I think I was 24, 25 again. So like so young to be doing this big shoot in like the meatpacking district of New York in Milk Studios, like epic. And it was like a new colour, and they didn't have the colour, and I was getting really stressed out because they wanted me to test out this colour. I'm like, but I can't test out a colour that you don't have. And they're like, oh, well, use the other colours. And I'm like, but it's not going to be the same. Like, how can you tell a marketing person that this is not going to be the same?
I
like,
relate
we just
to the
don't want it was a yellow, and they're like, we just don't want it to be Bumblebee. I'm like, but if I test out the colour that isn't the colour, it's going to be like a Bumblebee. Like, please don't put me in this position. And they asked me if I needed a timeout, and I was so shocked and offended because I thought they were like putting me on like the naughty step. But on reflection, having worked there so much now, it's part of their culture. Like, if you're getting overwhelmed by something, you can just go take yourself off and be okay. But at the time, I didn't know that that's what was being told to me. I just thought like someone was having really sassy, like, go have a time out, girl.
I'd love someone to give me a timeout now.
I know, absolutely. I want so many timeouts. Please give them to me all the time.
I find I've got this lovely girl who runs my social media for the salon, and we talk about this constant internal dialogue I have with myself, and she has the same.
Yeah.
And I constantly talk things through, and if I catch myself on my own talking out aloud to myself, and it's almost like my way of giving myself rational time out reasoning of what I'm doing at that moment.
Absolutely. We need expert advice from ourselves, don't we?
I think we should do that for each other. Do you need a time out?
Come on.
Yeah, we need to do that. It's a very good idea. Very good. I love that.
Yeah.
And so we often, when we're on the podcast, we like to invite guests on to talk about their challenges.
Yep.
So we just wondered if you would mind to share a couple with us.
Yeah, of course.
So maybe a couple of challenges that you've had to face that maybe you've been able to pull through or not.
Yeah.
If you're still working through them within the industry and working within the industry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's so many different variations of challenges, isn't there? Because I've thought, obviously I opened up about what happened to me when I first moved to London, and that was like a massive challenge to then like shift back into being the like you that you want to be again. But then there's like smaller challenges, like there was a campaign shoot that we did for Daverness, and I don't know if you guys saw it at all, but it had like half the hair was green and half of it was like this beautiful kind of sandy tone. To get that green was insane because it was all being shot like it wasn't digital, so it was all being shot analog, so no retouching. So that green had to be that colour. I remember being on set and that green was not being that colour, and I was layering it and doing all these different things, and at one point I was like, I'm just going to lose my job. Like, this is not
happening
going
right
to
now.
happen. Like, just in that moment, I was on set colouring the hair, being like, yeah, this is the last time I work for this company. And
how do you talk to yourself in that moment? Did you give yourself time out, or did it?
I kind of weirdly do. Like, whenever I go over to like mix up, that's like just take my breath. Like I over prepare everything now. So even for that, like I think there was like 100 green wefts that I'd done to figure out this tone.
Yeah.
So that if it went slightly this way, I knew how to correct it. And I was just like, okay, it's fine. Like, they're giving me time. Let's just do this. Like my friend Craig Chapman always has this thing where he tells us when we're on TV sets and things, and it gets really stressful and the producers are coming in yelling at us, being like, we need that person in 10 minutes. And we're like, well, we've still got half the hair to do. He always says to us, the day will end.
Yeah.
And so in those moments, I actually just have Craig's voice in my head being like, the day will end, Ash.
Yeah.
Like, whether you have a job at the end of it or not, I have no idea. But the day will end. And you will wake up the next day and it will be okay. So I do think of things like that. And then, I suppose, like, they're like little challenges that where you get in your head. And then you have obviously the bigger challenges. And I'm like, again, I'm in the middle of probably my biggest challenge ever, because I stepped away from, like, my dream job was to be the global colour ambassador of a brand, and that was amazing. And it was amazing whilst I was in it, but I was travelling every single week. And the human body just can't actually survive that. And I remember, like, in 23, from April to July, I was away every single week during that period. I would get home, wash my pants, repack, and go back to Heathrow Airport. And I had this like running joke on Instagram that I was at my local, which was the Wagamama's in Heathrow Terminal. Because it genuinely was. I was either eating lunch, dinner, or breakfast in that Wagamama's. And like, it was incredible whilst I was doing it, but stepping away from it, I realised, like, I was reading like 80 books a year during that time because I was just on my own, like, so much, traveling and in hotel rooms, and so so it helped my quickfire questions.
It did. It was brilliant.
So stepping away from that, the last couple of years have been a weird readjustment into actually living at home, into opening a business, into being president. So I think the last 2 years of my life have probably been the most challenging I've actually done. And I'm still in the middle of navigating that. Hayley, actually, the resilient hairdresser, she's amazing, and I'm having coaching with her at the moment, just again to help me navigate stepping out of this weird period of my life where I've taken on a lot and also been giving back a lot. Do you know if that makes sense?
Totally.
And presidency has been so insane. All the corners of our industry are crazy to unearth. And I've had to end up restructuring a lot of the organization. So I don't know if people realize this, but when you become president, you become the director of the company.
Right.
So it's like a really big deal.
Yeah.
More so than I ever actually expected it to be.
And you're doing this for free.
And you're doing it for free. It's so fun. But yeah, so like last year was probably one of the hardest years of my life ever. But again, like the day ends, the year ends, like it's a new year and you just go, oh, I've made it through. So I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. There you go.
What things do you put in place then to make sure that you are looking after Ashleigh while you're doing that?
I don't know, what do I put in place?
Because, obviously you've had an experience where you've gone in the deep depths of it being really difficult and it's taken a while to come out of it. From the sounds of it, and forgive me if I'm wrong, it has been hard, but you haven't quite got to that level. So you're obviously doing something different.
Yeah, I remember a life coach saying to me once, because I always had, after you kind of have a breakdown, you always have a fear of having another one.
Yeah.
And this was like post-therapy. And I remember her saying to me that after you've hit rock bottom, you build yourself up so that your rock bottom is higher. So you never hit the bottom again, hopefully. And it's important to do the work when you're feeling good, because when you're not feeling good, you can't do the work. So when you're feeling good, you can get up and you can do yoga and you can eat well and all of that. But when your anxiety or depression or whatever it is hitting you on a certain day, you can't do any of those things. As much as like the experts and TikTok and all of those things will be like, go for a run and do this thing.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot leave the flat right now. Like I can.
The curtain is different.
Yeah, stepping out of bed will be the biggest thing I do today.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to know that on your good days, you're going to be good. On your bad days, you're going to be bad. And just being kind to yourself. Weirdly, my friend introduced me to an app called Finch. And it's this little like bird that you have to keep alive through your own self-care.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a millennials Tamagotchi for self-care.
I love it.
And I thought it was like a silly gimmick at first, but I'm on like 223 days of keeping my bird alive. And it has like a little first aid kit. So if you're not doing very well that day, it will kind of help you with self-care things. And it's just a silly thing that weirdly helps me with my day-to-day when
Just
wherever
a
you
reminder,
are.
I guess.
Yeah, wherever you are, you can do some deep breathings or affirmations or whatever it is. This weird little bird on my phone keeps me alive.
I love that. So that's Finch. Love it. Because a lot of it is the being reminded.
Yeah.
And often, as you said, when you're in a time that's really difficult or, feeling quite hard on you, that's when you don't really remember it.
No.
That's when you're the worst.
It is.
and allowing that to happen, I think. Not trying to force through it, just being like, okay, I'm having a bad day today. And I think that's why, going back to the email thing, it's like, I shouldn't reply to emails when I'm having a bad day. Do you know what I mean? Like, just don't push yourself to try and do something that you're not going to do well, but tomorrow you might wake up being better and you could do it all within an hour. Something that's going to take you a whole afternoon will take 5 minutes.
Yeah. Give yourself permission.
Yeah.
God, your energy and your vibe is so infectious.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's just so inspiring sitting here talking to you. It's been fantastic.
It has. Is that our cue?
Yeah.
Oh no, don't let it end. Oh no. Ollie, I totally agree. You can just tell we're obsessed. So
I mean, I'll come back.
Come back. I've loved every moment and I just love, again, your vulnerability, your honesty. And I know there'll be so many people listening that will like relate and be able to resonate with everything you said. And I think it's really, really, really amazing the things that you are doing for our industry and continue to do. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Enjoy some sort of your time moving forward after your presidentship.
Yeah, come after June.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll just see me frolicking in forests. Like, I'm like, I need more than touching grass. Like, I need to be absorbed by moss.
Sinking in.
Oh, well, Mike, I totally
I'm
resonate with
looking
that.
forward to that post.
Yeah.
Just leave it there and we'll go,
There we go.
she's happy.
Yeah.
Keep happy. Thank you so much, Ashleigh.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been amazing. Thank you.